Hi folks, this is Adam from Adam's Autos on a Southend Shakedown kind of special, and the weather is shining on the righteous yet again. This is great, and it's weird for me to put this into context because those who cast your minds back to, well, the last decade now essentially, the ACECAF stepped away from the event back in 2016. There was a couple of years where there was a bit of no one really knew what was going on, and then I got a bunch of guys and girls together, and they're my team, or what became my team. We got the event back on for 2019, what would have been 2020/21 were it not for COVID, and then we done it again in 22. Unfortunately, when we did it in 22, we were very threadbare by that time for resources, you know, volunteers and all that. So we just about got it for 22, but post that point, it was becoming clear that we couldn't continue. So myself and the team that was with me, we had to step away, unfortunately, and that left a couple more years with the event in the doldrums. Fortunately though, as Southend became city, they were entitled to some extra grants from the government or something. So I don't know the ins and outs of it, so excuse that, but long story short, some of the grants that they're entitled to enabled them to provide for events. One of the first things I did was, and I take my hat off to them, not often, but I take my hat off in this instance. One of the first things I agreed to do was get the shakedown back on, and this time, instead of, they didn't come back to me, which was pointless because I had no one, but that's what I would have said anyway. So they went back to the ACECAF, and I'll try and explain better in a future video kind of what happened at the time of why the ACE stepped away in 2016. But that was the long and short of it. Southend Council approached the ACECAF to organise the event again. The event came back last year. It was a great day, we had good weather. So this is the second year I'm back with the ACE. And it was Easter's a funny thing because it happens on different weekends every year. Sometimes you get an early one, but the end of March, start of April, like this one, which is, well, 6th of April today. So it's an early one, so you can get anywhere from sun to snow at this point of the year. This year though, the sun has really and truly come out, and this has been possibly, certainly since I've been coming to the event. I started back in 2011, I think was the first time I attended a Southend Shakedown as a fully formed biker, i.e. I had a full test, big bike and all that. And funny, I was just talking to someone about the 2011 when I come onto that one. I was on my first big Honda, my NX650 Dominator, and it actually peed down with rain that day. Wasn't good, but I made the trip nonetheless. Today the weather could be more different, you know, it's shining bright, but the point is, since 2011 I first attended and today, there's been, I'd say, one other day where I think, apart from 2019 was good, but I think today's been on par with 2019, and I would say around 2014, 2015, when we had really nice weather back then, and the seafront was packed. I reckon back then there was around 10,000 bikers. We couldn't stretch to that in 2019 and coming forward because the seafront had been redeveloped, so I don't think we'll ever match that quite, but this does feel as busy as those two events, and it's great because that means the first 2 years back with the ACECAF have really gone off with a bang. So it's done everyone in the world of good, you know, for the city of Southend itself. The ACECAF in an organised event, massive thumbs up to Mark. Will's more on the team. As I say, I've had a few dealings with Mark. He's a great guy, you know, very no nonsense, old school biker and everything. You know, so everything from that to the people that attended, you know, we've got so many visitors just down for the day. you know, who don't ride bicycle, they're children, you know, got kids sitting on bikes and, you know, just enjoying the day and looking at them and taking the pictures. Fantastic. And as I say, long way to continue. I myself are going to head off home. It was actually very touch and go. I was going to make the event today because I actually hurt my ankle this weekend, and I actually spent all of yesterday sitting up with my foot elevated because my ankle was swollen. I'd love to have ridden out to the ice again today and come back, but I didn't want to chance it, so I literally rode from my home coming to town like that. But yeah, going forward we should be doing attending the Ace Cafe events a lot more. Not Southend Shakedown withstanding, but obviously I need to double check whether the Ace is doing Margate again this year and Brighton. I've heard a whisper today about Margate, but I want to check for myself. Unfortunately I couldn't because the internet's crap down here for some unknown reason. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna stop there and stop waffling. Coming up next is my pick of the bikes and what I've seen down here. Not necessarily all chromed up or anything like that, just bikes I personally found interesting. So we'll get a top 5 coming up just after this. So love and light, God bless all of you. Those of you who have attended today, I really enjoyed it. Those of you who haven't, I hope you enjoyed all the pictures and videos that will be up about today. Don't forget, next Easter, come down. Great place, great crowd, great attitudes, loads of bands down here and all sorts. Wonderful day, and it's free. You can't say better than that. See you later. In at number 5 is this rather pleasing example of the Yamaha FZR 1000 X-Up, and no bias at all because I own one, but it was the only example that I saw down the seafront, and it was an earlier version than my one. At number 4 we have this Suzuki GSXR 1100, one of the original slabbies. Again, I included this one because obviously it was kind of the progenitor of the modern sports bike in the way that we look at them. Arguably you could say the GSXR 750 was, however there wasn't no GSXR 750s down there that I saw, so this is why I've included this 1100, as it was the only slabby that I had certainly spotted anyway down the seafront. At number 3 we have this Kawasaki Zephyr 750. Now at first glance there's nothing to write home about when you look at this bike. However, this came out at a time when, you know, the kind of retro bikes were sort of reappearing in the 90s, and Suzuki made a great job of the Bandit. You had the Honda Hornet, you know, and so on. And Kawasaki brought out the Zephyr. Now, I have included the Zephyr because you just don't see them now. Where are they all gone? They weren't bad bikes by any means, but as I say, I have not seen one for a long time. And when I saw this 750 sitting there, they did do a bigger version, I believe. It was either 1100 or 1000. But when I saw this one sitting there, I thought I had to include it. And now we go to number 2. No jokes, please. This Honda Africa Twin is one of the original Africa Twins when they first were released. And yes, again, there's probably some slight bias because I own a current Africa Twin, although my one's old hat now if you compare it to the latest one. But you know what I'm getting at. And this is an early one with single disc front end, and what's unusual about this one is it doesn't have the twin headlights. Now I understand this model came from Switzerland. I could be corrected on that. I was having a nice chat with the owner, but the twin headlights were not allowed in Switzerland. We know they're funny about their vehicle rules, so this one had to have one square headlight, so that's why it looks unusual. But that's why I've included it. It's, you know, a very rare early example of the Africa Twin. And we come to number 1. It's a Triumph. What a surprise, given I own a Triumph. Albeit that this is a Meriden Triumph. It's the triple from when Triumph introduced them originally, the old Meriden one. But this particular example is the X75, which was a very limited edition bike. Then they were rare as hen's teeth, so it was a very pleasant surprise to actually see one at the Southend Shakedown, and particularly a bike that's as in good a condition as this. And it really, for my mind, that's why it makes number one. I hope you liked what I've picked. Please tell me if I'm wrong. Everyone normally does. And let me know what you thought your favourite bikes were on the Southend Shakedown. Thanks again for watching. See you on the next content. Bye bye.